Before we talk about yourself, STP, Ring of Honor, and various other things, we do need to kickstart the show by talking about what happened at the beginning of AEW Dynamite last night. Tony Khan announced All Elite Wrestling has purchased Ring of Honor. I myself, as a fan, didn't expect that. What the hell? Anything happening right now. But you, someone that was attached to Ring of Honor, I need to know because I know for a fact your inbox, your tweets, it's exploded basically. So before we do talk about wrestling, did you know beforehand about the news?
Absolutely not. And I think that was one thing that, just seeing how things were dealt with a couple of surprises that we had, a final battle and everything. I think the best move is for things that are very heavily involved, especially when you deal with a big announcement like that, is the less people that know, the better it is that it might be able to stay a secret. And you have to think, especially in this world of technology and social media, dirt sheet, websites and everything, things can get out very easily and surprises can get spoiled. So I do know that they kept that one very, very undercover. A lot of us had an inkling of it, but it was just about hearing it from the horse's mouth itself, to which that's what happened on Wednesday on Dynamite. We actually heard it directly from Tony Khan himself. So am I surprised? Not really, a little bit, not full blown shock. But at the same time, I think right now the real anxiousness is to see what kind of comes up about that. A lot of possibilities out there. So we'll see what happens.
What was your initial reaction when you heard the news?
Well, I think the initial reaction is anyone that's worked with a company such as Ring of Honor, you hold a little piece of ROH very close to you. When you look at the history of that company, where we're looking at nearly 2 decades now, there's a rich history. I think Ring of Honor has changed the sport of professional wrestling as a whole. That goes when you look at WWE, Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, you sprinkle it overseas, even into New Japan. There's a seedling of ROH in every major wrestling company in this universe. And I think that just speaks from the lineage that comes behind that. So anyone that has ever worked and that has ever been an employee of ROH will tell you those very exact things. So to be able to see the possibilities hopefully extend themselves and the opportunities grow now out of Tony Khan becoming an owner of Ring of Honor Wrestling, that does my heart good. You never want to see something that's good that has so much history go completely down the drain. So, whether we're connected, whether we're not connected, at the end of the day, wish them all nothing but the best, because if one company in pro wrestling grows, that's pro wrestling as a whole that's growing. And that's our sport staying alive. And that's what I think we're going to be seeing hopefully within the next few years or so.
No, I hope it does continue, because I think obviously with the hiatus that you were on and many talent and Ring of Honor as a company, I think it was might have been a bit scary. You didn't know necessarily if it would have come back. I mean, obviously we know now it has. Actually next month, actually. Time flies, actually. Bloody hell. But I forget it's March now. But no, it's a good time, not just to be a professional athlete, but for wrestling fans. Like, we just don't know what's going on now. What's going to be the next surprise? I mean, as a wrestling fan as well, Ring of Honor. I've seen when the UK, you've toured in the UK, fantastic shows, and Shane Taylor scared the hell out of me.
You're not the only one that says that,
man. But we will talk about him in a bit. But I'm glad that you've got a positive outlook on this news. But I mean, obviously, it's opportunities for you as well. I mean, just as an individual talent as well. I mean, is there anyone in AEW that you would like, if it was to happen, AEW versus Ring of Honor? Is there any talent that you'd be like, I think I'll get a good match with him. I think I'll beat him?
One person that sticks out to me, and I still think not enough people are talking about him, and it's easy for us to look at the CM Punks and the Bryan Danielsons, and the list goes on. But one that's very at the top of that list is Lee Moriarty. The reason
you've wrestled him before, haven't you?
I've wrestled him multiple times. I want to say 2 or 3 times already. Mainly within the Pittsburgh area. I have had the opportunity to, once I came back to the Pittsburgh area, to see Lee right at the beginning of his career. I've had the opportunity to train Lee, or train with Lee. I've had the opportunity to just, be with him and see his career continue to excel. And I've told him multiple times, I'm like, it's only a matter of time. I think Lee is an extremely underestimated talent. Although people are hearing his name now on the national scale, I still feel by way of his gift, he is still highly underrated. Within that, the last time that we fought each other, I did win. However, the other 2 times, Lee won. So I feel like it was a little bit of an unfair advantage. We need this bad boy to balance out. I think I got another good one in me. So I definitely say Lee is at the top of that list. And, those possibilities could very well be there. But the thing is, it's dangerous now. We've wrestled each other 3 different times. That last one, I was able to get the win over him, which is actually helping propel me in another independent company here within the Pittsburgh area. That's where I'll be fighting for the heavyweight title at the end of this month. But that all started from, getting through that qualifying match with Lee Moriarty. So I'm at the point right now to where that has me with some confidence. I feel like you might have got away a little bit easy, haven't been as available, but Lee knows as well as I know it, man. It's always a good time when we get to lock up in the ring. So just be able to test yourself with one of the best and do it on one of the grandest stages. You can't say any more about that. That's personal business right there.
I hope the as they call him, the Black Bruce Lee is listening.
Yeah,
you've just been called out, my man. But no, I did watch the match and I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed his work on AEW. I think I'm actually had against. I'm always going to call him Daniel Bryan. It's a bad habit, but they tore it down. Like I was just wow, and that's a new audience that hadn't necessarily heard of him. So good stuff. But you're going to wrestle again, and I can't wait for it, man. I'm all for it. Actually, I'm going to talk about a tweet, an exchange between you and the People's Champ, The Rock. How did that feel, by the way? I mean, was you a big Rock fan growing up?
Oh, The Rock is the best. You know what I mean? Like when you look, people always talk about my story and they'll be like, man, your story is a movie, yada, yada. But then I look at people like The Rock and I'm like, nah, man, like this dude has had such an incredible life. You know what I mean? From, being born into this sort of business, the sort of weight and pressure that's on you from that to trying to chase his dreams in football, those not coming to fruition the way he dreamed, the story of him being down at like his last $7 and then conquering an empire, right? Then leaving to conquer another empire, you know what I mean? Then to like owning the XFL, to owning all these businesses, to doing all this stuff and just outworking every single person he's come across in his life. It's the dude's incredible. Like I feel like when you compare the stories, it's like him and Arnold for like the most incredible human being story ever. You know what I mean? So to be sitting back, and people always think like when I put tweets out like that, it's like, oh, you must be high. I'm like, I'm not high. Like I'm not. That's just how my brain works. Like I'll get fixated on something and start thinking about little details, right? Yeah. But that's what helps me in wrestling, right? That's why I perform the way I do, because my mind thinks like that. So I'm just sitting back and I'm just watching tape. I mean, and I just saw, boom, he just throws it in the crowd. And I was like, damn, if an elbow pad is like $30-$40, I know he does this every match. How many do you think over the course of his whole career has he just thrown, right? And I started thinking about it, like, all right, well, if they do 300 shows a year, that's at least 300. He's got to give some to charity. He's got to do this. Like, so my mind just starts going, And so I put it out, and people were like, yeah, how many did he lose? You know what I mean? So I'm glad that,
I think it's a fair question.
It's a fair question.
It is.
Right? So I mean, as busy as he is, right? And I never thought that he would actually chime in. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for him to be like, well, great question. This, and I gave these away. And I was like, oh, well, shit, thanks, man, appreciate it. You know what I mean? And and just thanked him for being a leader and to be the first WWE champion of African American descent. For him to be able to blaze that trail and represent the way he did, opens doors for guys like myself. And that's a mantle that I take very seriously. So I just wanted to thank him personally, and it was dope.
Yeah, man. I think like not just as an actor, not just as a wrestler, but as a person. Like
Right.
there's just no
Right.
faults in him. Like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Just honestly, he's one of my personal favorites of all time as well. And just
Yeah.
to hear your exchange, just to see a smile on your face, like just to hear, it was great. And I saw it pop off. I was just like, yeah. I amount of times I tweeted Rock, nothing.
Listen, there was someone who was like, he didn't reply to me, and I'm like, but who are you though? Not that I'm saying that I'm anybody, right? Like I'm not, but it's like I'm sure he gets tweeted millions of times a day.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Rocky, follow me. Like, oh,
right,
man, every
like,
10 seconds.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure he's got like a like someone who manages most of his stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone was like, hey, someone wanted to check how many elbow pads he lost. He's like, what? Yeah, okay, I'll answer that one, you know? So
I bet there is
he
actually a
probably
fan out
found
there who
that
probably knows as well, like, but they're just keeping it to themselves, like how many elbow pads he's lost.
Listen, it wouldn't surprise me. He's such a detail-oriented dude. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he knew like how many pairs of boots he's gone through, how many knee pads, how many, you know what I mean? How many pairs of trunks, how many this, how many that. Like, I'm sure there's that's logged somewhere.
Definitely, my man.
In particular, what you mentioned, Tyra Banks. Listen, Tyra's my baby girl, man. Listen, woo. I don't. The Rev Run Hunt doesn't get starstruck much often. However, when you're talking to Tyra Banks, something's wrong with you if you don't get a little starstruck. But Tyra was.
I mean, you had yourself like a pro.
Man, hey, listen. Hey, you saw what was happening directly through the screen. You didn't see what was happening internally. You know, I feel like I was. You know, I felt like my hands were shaking. You know, I had to keep drinking. I drank about a bottle of water right before because I felt my throat tightening up. And they said, all right, Ron. You know, we're about to bring Tyra on. And I said, all right, here we. They're like, you ready? I said, oh yeah, let's do it. But in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I probably ain't ready for this.
It's a good thing that the screen was quite small then. Just
hey, man, who are you telling? And when you look back at that interview, we had some of those times to where, you know, as she's talking, we were showing some different clips from America's Got Talent. So those times when I knew that I wasn't on TV, I was just like, woo, you know. But I would tell you, you know, a lot of people think when you deal with a person like Tyra who has a, you know, her name holds weight, you know, not only within the fashion industry, but the entertainment industry as a whole. For a person that could very well have an ego, she had no ego. We were actually talking for about a good 15, 20 plus minutes right before the interview and talked for about another 10 after until her producers said, all right, Tyra, we got to go.
You got to go, man.
Yeah. She was actually, you know, she had scheduled like a bunch of interviews. So I was one of a few. And she said, I wish we can keep talking, but they're making me jump on this other one. So, but I can't say you know, enough great things about her. She was a complete gem, a complete professional. And I think I finally got those jitters out of my system. So the next time, Tyra, if you ever see this, you know, dinner's on me. Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Dinner's on you boys. So, but complete gem.
I think I might have to compete with you because I think, as I said before, recording, I had a massive crush on her. I mean, thanks to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when she appeared on it, like near the end of it, I was just like, who is that? I'm in love.
Hey, listen, man. If you want to have a competition about that, by all means, take the reins on it. That's a good competition, man. You're going to know exactly what I was feeling when I did that interview.
Man, you got space for that. Is so awesome. I mean, just in general, like your news work's really good, like the weather stuff as well, and doing it with the Pittsburgh fan as well. Like obviously, did a lot of, I think, a lot of digging and research. But if anyone wants to see it, I will put your YouTube channel, and it's out there for the public to see. It's really good, man. Do you feel that you talking basically in front of the camera when you did your news work benefited you and sort of assisted you when it came to wrestling and cutting promos? And because you're really good with your words, just speaking to you for the last 20 minutes.
That's an honor. You know, I definitely feel it definitely helped. And I think, you know, both of my professions definitely complemented themselves. Professional wrestling has helped me deal with situations that might be out of your control, but somehow you still have to take control of that. You have to do that within the news industry. If some things go wrong and you know, you lost the script that you put together, you're going to have to spit it right off the top of the head. I got help from that by doing wrestling promos, but also vice versa. Just being able to deal within the world of TV and broadcast journalism, I feel like that has definitely given me the edge and given me the experience also within the pro wrestling world. And some things that I feel at times, are taken for granted. Not many people are comfortable speaking in front of a bunch of people. Not many people are comfortable with talking in front of a camera, knowing that thousands of faces are looking at them. But to me, we just call that a Tuesday, So I feel like in a way that has definitely helped me, and very fortunate to be, to have been able to do both. And but at the same time, I feel like that has also been an extra edge, just being able to carry yourself in a certain demeanor, and being able to represent a company at a national level. All of that coincides, and wrestling and news both complement each other on that.
Because it's next month, and it's probably going to be quite an emotional pay-per-view. Final battle, because potentially it could be Ring of Honor's last pay-per-view ever. Also, you're going against someone who you've known for a very long time, who cost you the world title, Kenny King. I want to ask you sort of what are your thoughts going into that match?
My thoughts have changed from when it was announced to as it gets closer. When it was announced, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of relief that I'm finally going to get the opportunity. But as it gets closer, I'm starting to calm down. I'm starting to lock in. I'm starting to understand exactly what this moment means, what this match means. You're talking about a guy in Kenny King who's been a friend, mentor, who has done and achieved things that only a select few people have been able to achieve. You're talking about a former 2-time TV champion, one of only 3 black men to hold that championship in the entire history of ROH, not including Jay Lethal and myself. So both of us are very capable of making history. Both of us strive for a lot of the same goals. And that's what hurts so much when he cost me the world title, is because he knows exactly how important it is, not only to me, but to us, to have someone else up there to keep Jay Lethal company in that spot in history.
You would have been the second
absolutely
Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. So he took that, not just from me, he took it from my team, he took it from my family, he took it from our fans. And for a long time, I knew where I was gonna go mentally, right? If this continued. And I tried my very best, because I'm trying to be a leader. I'm trying to be that person, that sort of Ali type figure, to be able to move the culture forward. And I can't move forward if I'm worried about what's behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kenny decided to keep pushing, and here we are. And now I'm going to have to tap back into, that East Side Cleveland Shane Taylor, that person who doesn't care about leading and only wants to destroy the person in front of him. And that's who he's going to get at Final Battle. And it's going to be a shame that I'm going to have to do that to Kenny on that stage. But this is what it requires. I believe that this is worthy of the main event.
This match itself literally sells the pay-per-view. It's going to be an emotional pay-per-view in general. This match,
it's absolutely. So I don't know. Best of luck to him, because what he's got coming for him at Final Battle is an absolute monster.
I can't wait. And if I was Kenny, he might have to rethink. he might have to come up with an excuse for that one.
You better do something, bro. You better do something.